We have now the HUD Secretary Scott Turner. Secretary Turner, good to have you on, sir.
Hey, great to be with you guys, Clay and Buck. So thankful for you guys having me on.
Oh, well, we appreciate you, sir. So let's dive into this. How does HUD play in the realm of the men and women's sports issue? Something we talk about here a lot on the show. I mean, I know that there's a Biden equal access rule, and that affects HUD-funded providers like shelter services and others. How is the policy changed when it comes to HUD on men and women's spaces in general?
Well, that's a great question. And you alluded to the equal access rule. We took that rule down. That was a Biden era rule. We took that rule down on day one. And what it says now is that men and women, so if you are a biological female, you are allowed to go into female HUD-funded shelters. But if you are not a biological female, you are no longer able or allowed to enter into HUD-funded facilities, including shelters that are for females. This is for our females only. And, you know, the president, I'm so grateful for him restoring biological truth back to our country. If you are a female at birth, if you are a male at birth, there's only two sexes, male and female. That's a biological truth. It's a biblical truth. And so we're very proud here at HUD to protect the ladies of our country. And when you talk about men and women's sports, you know, guys, I have four sisters. I have a wife, I have a mother, all of my sisters, and I have 9 nieces. They were all athletes, and they spent painstaking time to prepare, to train, to compete against other females and not to compete against males. And so I'm grateful for the president's leadership on this. I'm a 100% supporter of men should compete against men, women should compete against women. And at HUD, we're upholding that truth when it comes to our HUD-funded facilities.
Secretary, you played 9 years in the NFL. What percentage of NFL players do you think are against men being able to compete in women's sports?
Man, if I just had to guess, I would say 100%. You know, yeah. Playing in the NFL, you know, and being in that locker room, playing against the best athletes in the world, just from a common sense standpoint, to have a lady compete in the NFL or contact football against men that literally could take your life or hurt you real bad, that just makes no sense. And so I would hope to say that it'll be 100% of guys.
But it would be a crazy percentage. And my argument has been the higher level athletics you have played. I think every guy who plays high school, college, obviously very small percentage goes on like you did to play in the pros. But the more of an athlete you are, the crazier I think you think this is.
Absolutely. I agree. You know, when you go from high school to college to the pros, the level of competition, the strength, the speed, the attitude, you know, there's no comparison. And so I think that guys, like I said before, that are in an NFL locker room or in an NBA locker room or a Major League Baseball locker room, they are, you know, we think the same. And when you break it down just to the training, the type of training that we do, and, you know, we have ladies that are in professional sports that train vigorously, that train, they're so committed. But when it comes to game and competition, women should compete against women and men should compete against men. You know, I saw videos of a precious volleyball girl. I can't remember her name. She was a female playing in a volleyball match, and there was a transgender man, I guess, on the other side, and he spiked the ball and hit her.
I think was her name. Sorry to cut you off, but Peyton McNabb. I think you're right. That video went viral of that dude soaring up above the net and smashing the ball in a way that a woman couldn't.
That's it. I mean, end of story.
You were just with the president in the Oval Office for the announcement of the NFL draft coming to D.C. 2027. New stadium being built for Washington's team. You played for the Redskins back in the day. What is the impact of that for D.C., and what does the president's commitment mean for D.C., you think, going forward?
So, yes, I'm very excited for the Redskins, or now the Commanders, to bring the stadium back to the site where RFK is. I played in RFK. I was drafted by the Redskins. Just the excitement of the team coming back to the Capitol, coming back to D.C. The anticipation is great. Even inside of the press conference, you could sense the energy and anticipation from the owners, from Commissioner Goodell, from the president and others to have the stadium back. And so from a sports standpoint, it would be tremendous, but also from an economic development and a community development standpoint, this will make an impact that it hasn't had in decades, really since I played for the Redskins. I played in the last game in RFK and in the first game in the stadium in Maryland. And so to bring that back from a housing standpoint, from a commercial development standpoint, retail, from a community engagement standpoint, economically, and from a personal, the people, the families will bring new life back to this area in D.C. And so I'm very excited. I know the Redskins, our Commanders organization, is excited, and the people in the Capitol are looking forward to that.
So, as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, what are just some of the top initiatives that President Trump wants you to pursue on behalf of his administration while you're in this role? I mean, because, HUD doesn't tend to get the same headlines as, say, Treasury or the State Department does, right? But what are some of the things that you can do at HUD that would be MAGA?
Well, you're talking about housing. Housing impacts every family, every individual in our country. All 350 million people in this country, housing makes an impact. Housing is not political. It's not Republican. It's not Democrat. It's not red. It's not blue. We need about 7 million units of housing in our country. And while we may not be in the headlines as it pertains to the news media, what we do on a daily basis impacts every American. And so housing affordability is a major priority for us. Taking down burdensome regulations, freeing up local control, local flexibility across our country, and providing the local mayors and economic development. Every city is unique when it pertains to housing. And so we've been working really hard in tearing down rules such as the affirmatively further and fair housing rule, which was a regional zoning issue here that Washington was telling localities how they should zone their neighborhoods. So taking that down and restoring that back to the localities. Also, when it pertains to disaster recovery here, we've had major hurricanes and fires in LA and in North Carolina. And so we are on the front lines of helping families to rebuild their families, their homes, their businesses. And so when you think about HUD, think about people that are impacting families and impacting individuals right where they are, be it in housing, be it in disaster recovery, be it in eradicating and attacking homelessness in our country. And so that's what we're about, guys. We literally meet people where they are. The media may not cover it in such a way as they cover other agencies, but that's not what we're concerned about. To your point, what we are concerned about is the assignment we have to serve the American people that we've been called to serve. And I have the best team in America to do so.
We're talking to HUD Secretary Scott Turner. You're in D.C. now. How good is Jaden Daniels going to be?
Jaden Daniels is a baller, and I am super proud of him. He just goes to work. He's one of those guys, he doesn't talk about it, he just gets it done. And what I'm really impressed about him, one, is his character and the way that he carries himself on and off the field, but also from a former professional athlete standpoint. The game seems to be slow for him, and that's really, it's miraculous that even in his rookie year, his control of the game and how the game seemed to slow down for him, even in his decision making and his check downs and having a grasp, of the game in the NFL so quickly is pretty miraculous.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, and boy, I can't wait to see what that new stadium's going to look like. And I promise you that I will be there for the draft in 2027. That's going to be an incredible scene, perfect location. I can't wait.
Indeed, it's going to be epic. I'll see you there.
For sure. All right, appreciate that. That is another one of the Trump's cabinet members, the HUD director, Scott Turner. Fantastic stuff there. I want to tell you, speaking of fantastic stuff, Buck, are you nervous? Are you nervous about the Knicks 50 years not being able to get things done? Are you getting nervous about tonight's game where the Knicks can advance to the Eastern Conference Finals? Maybe a little bit.
I mean, I don't think you think the series is over. I don't think the series is over. I think it's easy for you, Mister I live in Nashville, to just make this assumption about my New York Knicks. My New York Knicks never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity.
That is often, sadly, the case. The Knicks Celtics play tonight. The Warriors Timberwolves in the NBA. We've also got NHL playoffs underway. Florida Panthers, they've done pretty well, defending champs, going up against the Maple Leafs. And you got the Oilers going up against the Golden Knights. All that taking place tonight, as well as my Atlanta Braves in action as they have now fought back to 500 after starting the season 0-7. Whatever sport you're into, whatever teams or individuals you enjoy cheering for, you can get hooked up right now at Prize Picks. You put $5 down on picks, you get $50 guaranteed. NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, golf, whatever sport you love during the course of the summer, prizepicks.com, code Clay gets you hooked up. That is prizepicks.com. Code Clay, $5 turns into $50. All you have to do, prizepicks.com, code Clay. One more time, that's prizepicks.com, code Clay for $50. You can play in California, Texas, and Georgia. Prizepicks.com, code Clay.